us today. There's generally an amazing way to get listings with Facebook. Brian and I have been friends for a long time. When I saw him at California Association of Realtors Expo, he told me that after he spoke for 45 minutes, people were asking him to show them this thing after his speaking engagement was over. So I got really excited and I said, let's do a webinar. So want to say hi to Brian. I'm going to have him get started. But while he's getting organized and we're getting going, can you guys please use your question panel to confirm that you can see Brian's screen and you can hear me okay? And I'm going to knock it over to Brian right now. Just keep on having the questions come flowing. And oh, Brian, all of your friends are here from Northern California, and all of your active rain friends are saying hi to you right now.
Hey, I
Kathy,
love my active rain people.
it's all the active rate people are coming in. So anyway, hi guys, I'm so excited. It's so much fun when people that you know are on. Anyway, I'm going to throw it to Brian so he can get started. And if you have questions for Brian, just type them in and I'll ask him on your behalf. So that'd be awesome. Go
Excellent.
ahead.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, I know we've been holding everybody up here, so we'll jump right into it. It's like how to get listings with Facebook. So, just to get started, let's go through the things that you need to start. For starters, you're going to need, and this is all about. I'm gonna approach this thing from giving you the specifics, not the nebulous. Oh, you just need to be on Facebook and blah 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 blah, because that's not going to get you any leads. This whole presentation is about the specifics. So I encourage anybody who's on, if there's anything that's not clear about the details, please ask. That's exactly what I want you to walk away with. Exactly what you need to do this. So what you need to start are pictures of homes in the neighborhoods in which you would want to target your marketing. So these ads are going to target people in very specific areas where you do business. So obviously pictures are what grab people's attention on Facebook. That's the thing that gets the like. That's the thing that gets the click to get into your ad, to get you the lead. So the pictures are everything. If you've got a good point and shoot, that's great. Even your smartphone, probably not the best choice. I've actually hired professional photographers to take mine. Again, it's up to you, but you need really good quality pictures because the pictures are what grab the attention of the people in Facebook. The better the picture, the better the results, okay? So, and the reason for 4 to 6 is because you're not going to just do one ad, you're going to do several. If you have multiple neighborhoods, you're going to need examples of good homes in each of those different neighborhoods. So if you've got 2 or 3 zip codes that you tend to work in, or 2 or 3 distinct neighborhoods, and the style of the homes in those neighborhoods vary, make sure you take the time to take pictures that apply to each one of those neighborhoods. That is going to make a difference. Okay, Facebook business account. We're actually not going to run through in this particular training setting up the Facebook business account. But I'll tell you right now, if you just go to Google and you type in set up Facebook business account, those exact words, it will come back with results that take you to the Facebook guides to walk you through what you need to do. And you do not need to hire a consultant to do this. It's actually pretty straightforward. So you'll need that business account because you have to have the business account in order to do the advertising. You can't do it with your personal account. You wouldn't want to anyway. Next thing you're going to need is lead management system. And the reason I'm making the distinction here of this is not just software is that when these leads come in, you need to have a real clear methodology on how you handle the leads because conversion of these leads is based on that system. And that has nothing to do with the software. There's a lot of different software systems out there where you can, put these people, and we'll get into that in a minute. You're going to need to choose one of a variety of different software packages where the landing pages are. But when the leads come in, they're going to come in through your email. And whether it's in a drip system or something similar, the follow-up is what gets these people to convert. The people on Facebook who are clicking these ads are doing it because it's top of mind at the moment. That's not to say that every one of these people is interested in selling their house right now. Not the case. But you need to have a methodology or a management system that when these people click, they get more than just the automatic drip response. Okay? So we'll get into the details on that in a minute. CRM or email drip software. This is going to come with whatever platform you use. So let's talk about some options. Um, uh, Listings to Leads is one provider of home valuation software. So basically, all these ads are going to drop the people who are interested in selling their home into a landing page, which allows them to put in their address and request a property valuation.
And Brian,
Those
that's
yep,
listings. It's listings
listings to leads.
with a digit two, right? Not TO.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. The other one is home value leads, and there's a bunch of others. Those are two of the best and most widely recognized. Almost any of them will work. It's really up to you and what your budget is. I really like home value leads because it's $50 a month for the landing page, and they've got a nice, relatively easy to manage basic CRM in the background with a drip campaign already built in. You're going to want to customize that, but uh, it's pretty effective. So
Can I
for the
actually
bang for the buck, it's good.
ask you a question about that,
Yep.
Brian? One of the things that I've noticed, and I think all the people on the line are probably, when they're doing their investigation, if they're going to go this route, is that some of these products actually will provide like a mini CMA immediately, which I think is a great value for the person that wants that immediate piece, but some
Yes.
don't. So, do you know offhand which ones do and which ones don't provide that kind of immediate, not so good CMA?
Not all of them. Listing to Leads and HVL both do instant valuations. They have a built-in AVM. I believe SmartZip does the same thing, but beyond that, none of the systems that I know of, like Boomtown, for example, does an instant valuation. Um, I'm not aware of any of them at this point that require you to do a manual CMA, but even the automated ones will, on occasion, require a manual CMA. But even if you, let's put it this way, I've done it both ways. I've done these campaigns where you've had to generate a manual CMA. I've also done it where the prospect specifically gets an automated valuation. The automated valuations are going to give instant gratification, which in today's consumers is paramount, right? They want what they want right now. So to retain them and improve your capture rate and conversion rate, the instant valuation is going to get you better results. That's just based on my experience. Um, the downside to doing the manual CMAs is that it's kind of labor intensive. So if you run an ad campaign and you get, let's say, 10 leads, 10 good full contact leads over the course of a weekend, which is absolutely possible, depending on how long it takes you to generate a CMA on all those homes, it could take a while. The option, of course, is that you could create a generic CMA. I have tried that. Generic CMAs that apply to an entire neighborhood across a spectrum of homes are not as effective at the conversion. That's not what people want. What they want is they want to, what is my house worth? They're looking for an
Awesome.
alternative to Zillow.
Perfect.
So, okay, so let's get into it, right? So, assuming you're in Facebook, okay, so you look at these three steps. This just walks you through navigating where you need to go. A lot of people don't even know where the ad management stuff is. So in the upper right hand corner in Facebook, you'll see the little triangle up there, and when you click it, it brings down, how to use Facebook, right? So if you have your business account, you can see it up here. It's got, my brokerage name, which obviously is I have administrative rights to, and then Silicon Valley Real Estate, which is my business page. And right down there, you click Manage Ads, and then it'll take you into the Campaign Manager. Now, interestingly enough, if you've got a Chrome browser, if you see down under step 2 about 5 entries up from the bottom, you'll see Power Editor. There's the option in creating these ads to use the Power Editor. It gives you an amazing amount of control over where your ads go and when you time them and a bunch of other things. I've used Power Editor. I don't like it. It has nothing to do with the interface. I just think it has to do with how that particular service manages ads. So this training today is going to have you focus on using just the basic campaign management tool. Don't try to get fancy. I don't see that it buys you anything, and it might actually complicate things more than it's necessary. So you click on campaigns. You could also click on create an ad. But if you've created campaigns where you're going to put multiple ads, just going to the campaign page is a better way to start. And then in the upper right-hand corner again, when you're on this page, it's a little shrunk here, you'll have create the ad. And we're going to walk through exactly what you do to create the ads. All right, so when you do that create the ad page, it brings up this. Now, you'll see at the top there it says Facebook's ad tools might not work with an ad blocker. My browser has an ad blocker, interestingly enough. While we're creating an ad, I have an ad blocker. If you don't have an ad blocker, that warning will not come up. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to select send people to your website. The rest of these options over here, promote conversions on your website, boost posts, things like that, there are reasons and rationales for using those. But for these campaigns, you are always going to use send people to your site. That's all you need to know at this point. If anybody has any questions on the reasons for why, that's fine. We can take those at the end. But at this point, you're just sending people to your site. And then in the dialog box here where it says enter your URL to promote, you're going to pick the URL of the page that you want people to go to. So if you sign up for one of these services, like listings to leads, then they're going to ask you to create a domain name. And your domain name could be something like NewportBeachHomeValues.com or SiliconValleyHomeValues.com. Something that promotes the idea that the website or the web page is relevant to somebody who owns a home wanting to give their home valuation. There's a lot of combinations of words you could use. You're going to have to go to something like GoDaddy or oneandone.com to check for domains that you could use. But you're going to want to pick a name when you set up the services with the landing pages to do something that reflects that style. You could, in theory, use your existing domain, so like brianrobertsonhomes.com and a sub-page under that, but it doesn't work as well. I've tried it, and it's not as effective. So you're better off just picking a good domain name that makes sense. Follow the conventions I just outlined, and you'll do well. So you put the website in here, and it's going to actually scroll down. So this whole thing is a scroll down. It isn't several successive pages. It's one big long page that scrolls down through several steps. The second step that you're going to want to do is who do you want your ads to reach? And this is a really interesting scenario because you can either go really narrow or really broad. What I'm going to try to give you in this presentation is not only what to set up, but some reasons for not doing certain things that you might hear from other places. So let's talk about custom audiences. You don't need that right now. That doesn't apply. But you do need locations. If you have a large geographic area and it's too big, depending upon your budget, you may actually get no hits or get hits that are totally inapplicable to your ad. So you're best off trying to go after zip codes. The problem with that is that not every zip code is in Facebook's advertising system. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that in San Francisco in particular, there are zip codes in San Francisco that are not available. And so you want to try to do an advertisement that applies to people in, I think it was the Outer Sunset. The zip code for the Outer Sunset is not in their database. So you've got to be a little more generic. What you do want to do, and you want to make sure you do as you're trying to narrow down the audience, is I've put in San Francisco in this example, right? And if you look on the right-hand side here, it says your audience is defined as, and all the variables. It says location living in San Francisco. If you see potential reach down at the bottom of that, you'll see 1 million people. That's way too many, not even remotely close to what you'd want to have. So putting in a city name, if it's too big, is going to be a waste of time. Your ad's going to hit so many people and be so generic that you're just going to be all over the place. So you're going to want to narrow that down to a zip code if you can. If you can't, there's no map-based geography. Okay, so you'll see there it says add a country, state, province, city, zip. Zip's the only way to go. If you can't do anything beyond that, there are other ways to narrow the audience. But you want your audience to be somewhere between 10 and 30,000 people, just depending upon where you are. Age ranges, that's usually pretty obvious, but again, it depends on your market and depending who you're going after. If you're going after, condo owners who might be upgraders, and you want to make sure that the target goes to them, you might want to get your start age range lower. If you're in a more mature market, where the average homeowner is, say, middle-aged, you might want to raise that so that the age range on the ads targets people who are in their 30s and 40s. So picking the right age range is going to narrow your potential reach. I mean, right now I've got everybody from 18 to 65. That's why I've got 1 million people in San Francisco. If I narrowed that down, then that audience is going to drop. Gender, men and women, that's fine. Language, again. The demographics. Here's the thing in demographics. You have the option, based on some of the data that's available in Facebook, to choose people who specifically are homeowners. The problem with that is that you can do that. You can say, I only want to target homeowners. And if you just want to narrow your audience down, that's a pretty good way to go. Most zip codes only have a few thousand homeowners in them, and it's not a bad way to just test out and see if you can really go straight to those people. The problem with it, though, is that the ads themselves, people don't always necessarily put their data in to say they're a homeowner. And a lot of this demographic data and the interests and behaviors data that you see below, a lot of that is purchased by Facebook from third-party resources that may not necessarily be accurate. So you might be missing opportunities by narrowing things down too much using those variables. So, on the other hand, one thing I will throw in there is if you are going to target people in particular industries or people who are in particular companies. Let's say you like working with people who are tech workers, for example, and you want to try to capture people who are only working for, and this is for people in the Bay Area, for example, only people who are working at, say, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Yelp. Okay, well, you in demographics can specifically select the companies that have people who are working at those places. Again, the challenge is that if you narrow down to those folks, it may be too narrow an audience. Not everybody puts their workplace in there. So just a few tips so that you know what to do with the data. At the end of the day, again, potential reach should be 10 to 30,000 people. So let's get into the details of budget. How much you spend. $5 a day is the default. That's actually pretty good. You can spend more, but you got to remember that if you're running this ad in multiple different zip codes, let's say you've got 2 or 3 different zip codes you're going to work, whatever your budget per day is going to be scaled across each of those zip codes. Meaning if you've got 3 zip codes and your budget is $5 a day, you're going to have 3 different ads. That's $15 a day. So if you don't want to spend $450 a month on advertising, then you're either going to have to scale that budget back, which I would not do, or reduce the number of zip codes. Or there's another trick, and we'll get into that in a second. Scheduling, start dates and end dates. I do not allow ads to run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Reason for that is we'll get into in a bit, but I control when these things run. And what you want to make sure you do is set an end date so that you don't lose track of your ads. Because if you're worried about what your budget's going to be and you just set an ad to run and you're not paying attention to it, you can just keep spending and spending and spending. Okay? So set an end date, start date and end date. After that, you're actually going to start creating the ad. So this is the fun part, right? This is what we're getting into, where we use our pictures, where we use the text, what's the ad going to look like, how everything works. Okay, so creating multiple ads. You got 4 to 6 images that you've picked. You can upload all 4 to 6 of those right here, okay? So you get up to 6 images. In my experience, you really only need 1 or 2 good ones. Now here's the trick. When you're running these ads, you're going to run the same ad with the same picture for, let's say, 2-3 weeks in a row. At the end of that 2 or 3 weeks, one of the things you're going to notice is that the ad effectiveness or rate of return, number of people who are clicking through of it, will drop. So, because people get used to seeing the same picture all the time, and you're only going to get so many people who say, oh yeah, I'm interested in selling my house, I'm going to click that picture. So that's one major reason for having the different images, is because the text can be the same, but if the images change, people will see it as something new, they'll click on it. That said, If you upload all 4 to 6 right off the bat here to create this one ad, it'll rotate through all those 4 to 6 images each week. It will figure out which one has the most effective response rate, and then it'll just keep using that one ad. Again, if you want to have control, which is what I do, I upload one image right here, and then I'll create another duplicate ad, and then I'll turn one ad off, put another ad on. So I control it manually rather than letting Facebook do its thing. When you do it manually, you tend to get better budget control and a better response rate. Next, we get into the meat of how this thing actually works. Okay, so this is probably the most important section of everything we've talked about so far. Lots of really important stuff. So right up here is it's talking about what text and links do you want to use. So this is where we're going to get into some specifics about what to write, how to make your ad work. Connect your Facebook page. I have multiple business pages, so it gives me the option of having more than one. Obviously, Silicon Valley Real Estate, that's what it's defaulting to. And you pick whatever you've got. If you've got multiple different business pages, just pick the one you're going to target. Right below that, you've got headline. You've only got a few characters in here. You do not want to get wordy. It really comes down to the name of the town that you're in, home values. That's it. Super simple. If you want to change up those things a little bit, you can. I'm not necessarily a fan of the variations that I've seen. Home values, just, it clicks. All you're trying to do is get somebody to pay attention. It's the biggest text in the ad. That's the stuff that gets people's attention. So right up here, just says San Jose. You could say Almaden, you could say Newport Beach. As long as you got enough space for the text, whatever you want to do. If you're targeting condo peoples, put condo instead of home. If you wanted to get only single family homes, type house instead of home. But these terms specifically work. The secondary text is home values are up. That's a very positive message. I've done variations on that. I've done ads where the text in here said, don't trust the Zestimate. Click here to get a free instant valuation. That's kind of a negative ad angle, and it can work. It does resonate in some markets. I'm not a fan. I'm just telling you what the options are. I want you guys to try out. Every market's different. I can honestly tell you that the ads that I've run between Silicon Valley and San Francisco get different response rates with different versions of text. So I'm trying to give you some of the variations that I've tried so that you have some options. One thing you can get away with is the all caps. I tend to use it with the word free. Free is a very powerful, motivating word in advertising. I would not do all caps on all the text that's there, nor would I do all caps on the first letters of all the words. That does not help effectiveness. So free, that works. If you want to change the wording a little bit, you could add, instead of saying free instant estimate, you could say free market report, free market valuation, free market information. So those words specifically do resonate with people because that's what people are looking for. They want to know what's their house worth, what's going on in the market. And the companies that I told you about, their reports add that value add. So that information is there. Fast and easy, right? You want to get recent sales? That's how you do it. So the call to action button, again, there's a lot of options in here. One of them is sign up. The learn more options, the one that I use for everything I do. Learn more seems to be the most effective. Sign up is a little nebulous, doesn't seem to work as well. Okay, so and there's advanced options. Under advanced options, I did not do the drop down for that because it's kind of a waste of time, but if you're curious, if you were to click that, it would give you the option for putting even more descriptive text in this ad to describe what you're doing or what you're offering. Don't do it. It makes the ad busy. Too much text tends to distract from the picture, and you want people to focus on the picture. Okay, that's what gets people's attention.
Brian, we've got a
So,
question.
sure.
The question right now is if people click the like page button,
Yeah,
are you paying for that or only if they click learn more?
only if they click learn more.
Okay.
And I'm glad somebody brought that up. That's a good question. So the like page thing is a perk. Ads that are liked tend to perform better than ads that are not liked. Plus, you do have the ability to reach out to the people who like those pages. So you'll get a notice through Facebook when somebody likes your ad. That's an opportunity to reach out and connect with these people and network with them. Okay? So they're not going to be in your lead gen because they haven't dropped into your landing page, but you do have the ability to message them through Facebook and thank them. Reach out, right? I mean, this is a contact sport. So take advantage of what this ad does, because even if somebody doesn't click through and say, I want a home valuation, if they've liked your page, maybe they just like the picture, but it doesn't matter. It's an opportunity to network. So that's where we get back into lead management. This is one of those opportunities where you want to take advantage of saying, hey, thank you for liking my page. Are you interested in selling your home? If you're not, do you know somebody who is? That's all you have to do. So in the right-hand side here, you'll notice that the desktop news feed shows a preview of the ad you're creating. That is an absolute must. You must have the desktop feed. That's where you get the most clicks. Right below that, you'll see the little thing that says mobile news feed. It's got a little check to it. That's what you want. The two below them are right column and partner mobile apps. Partner mobile apps is actually new. I've not seen that that's been an effective platform so far. And the right column is a big waste of time and money. So you might get a lot of clicks through, but the click-through rate is, the conversion rate on those ads has traditionally been very low. So don't bother. You're going to end up wasting your budget and not getting any response. So
There's another question from Michelle, and I wasn't going to bring it up till the end, but I think it relates to that. Apparently, she uses Wix for her website, and she says they have an app that costs $9 per ad and says it advertises to Facebook for a whole week. But
okay,
she's asking, how's that possible if Facebook, if you're setting a budget for $5 a day? So, do you know anything
yeah.
about how that works?
I don't, but if I had to guess, it might be a boosted post rather than an actual ad. I mean, it's possible, I guess, that they could post it up there, but for $9 for an entire week, you're spreading your budget across at what, a buck and a quarter a day, a dollar and change. The problem with that is that that's not enough money to get enough leads to bother. So most areas that you do these ads in from a budget standpoint, your cost per click most of the time is going to be somewhere between 40 and 80 cents. Okay, and we'll get into that in a minute.
And
Um,
as Susie's asking, are you sending the thank you through Facebook Messenger or messaging through direct message through Facebook? How are you, is that how you're thanking them for liking your page?
yes, yes,
Okay, great.
yeah.
Thanks.
So when and where to advertise. So this is okay. So everybody's at this point now got the basics of actually walking through and creating the ad itself. And when you get to the end of the ad, you're going to say, okay, submit. It's at the bottom of the page. I didn't put it up here because I didn't think it was necessary, but you're going to click submit. It's going to go through ad review. When ad review is done, you're going to say your ad is reviewed, your ad is approved, and it's going to run for whatever dates you set. When you're in the Facebook ad manager, you're going to see things that are active. You're going to see what the clicks count is. You're going to see how many people have clicked through and how much money you've spent on a day-to-day basis. One of the options at the end of the page also is when you're setting your budget, it's going to ask you if you want to set the price to bid or let them maximize and optimize it themselves. Just let Facebook do it. They'll determine what the best budget is for your advertising. And by doing that, that's how you're going to get the lower click-through rate. You could pay the maximum dollar amount, but if you do, you're going to burn your budget in a hurry and you won't get any more leads. So, all right, so when and where to advertise. And this is why I said let's take some manual control. The best days in my experience, Thursday through Sunday. So, and I'll tell you, right now, at the end of this call, I'm going to go turn my ads on. So basically, at lunchtime is when people spend a lot of time during lunch at work twiddling around on Facebook and looking at stuff. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So you'll notice that you get a lot of leads generated then. You're going to get even more leads at dinner time. So between the hours of 5 and 10 p.m. That said, I've had people at 1 o'clock in the morning click on the ad and go, I want information. So, but weekends and the days, Thursday in particular, leading into the weekend, that's when people are thinking about properties. If they're thinking about buying and they still have yet to sell, then they may be planning their open houses. So either way, Thursday and Friday, that's when they're starting to really click into it. Saturday is a pretty good day. Sunday tends to trickle off a little bit. Still not too bad, but Saturday is the sweet spot. The best hours, like I said, 10 to 2, 5 to 10. So you can, in Power Editor, set up the times to do this specifically. Again, done that. Don't think it's effective. I'm just telling you so you know when you're going to get the most hits. You never know. You get people in the off hours and it works.
So do you
Um,
just turn it on Thursday morning and turn it off on Sunday, or do you actually like go in
yeah, what I
twice a
no,
day and do stuff?
nope, I go. So what I do is it like so what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll say, okay, turn it on. So the ad campaign is up there, same ads, tweak the photos or rotate through the photos, just like I said. Or, if there's a new ad or a new place I need to go, I'll create a new ad from scratch. But mostly it's just running the same ads in the same markets. And then turn them on, let them run. You get the leads, they come through, you manage them. You got to do what you got to do to figure out how you're going to handle them. I'll get to that in a minute. Um, and then because I set the end time, the end date for Sunday, I don't have to do anything else. I just flip the switch and turn it on. That's all I have to do. And I set it to turn off at 11 o'clock on Sunday. I figure after that, most people who are thinking about doing something with the house are asleep and getting ready for work. Um, so you can spend money advertising all week long. I've done that too. I just have found that the response rates are lower Monday through Wednesday. So rather than spending all that extra money for the off chance, because Facebook's going to keep pumping the ads out because they want your money. So the people who click through during those time periods, in my experience, don't tend to be the ones that click through and actually enter their information. So they're looky loos, they're tire kickers, whatever you want to call them. I just find that the rate of return for the ad money is not as good. So I don't run it Monday through Wednesday, and that cuts my budget back. Saves me money, more money to spend on generating actual leads. The other thing is that the optimal age range is usually 30 and up. That's not to say, again, that you can't get people who are condo buyers or whatever, people who bought a condo when they're younger. But in general, the 30 and up range seems to generate the best results. Targets, again, 8 to 25,000 people. That's the sweet spot. You can go a little higher, 30 to 40,000. You're kind of pushing it when you get into that range. The sweet spot is at 8 to 25. Budget strategy, running multiple ads in different neighborhoods. Best way to go. $5 a day is the sweet spot. I've tried it at 10. It does result in generating more ads, but it depends on the size of the market. So if you have more people, let's say you've got 40,000 people you're going after, that might be worth spending $10 a day on versus a zip code that's only got, say, 10,000. Then in that one, you can get away with 5. So you choose based on the number of potential people you can hit. That's going to get you the best results. Average price per click, 35 to 70 cents is what I put in here. That's generally kind of true. I actually upped it a little bit to 40 to 80. I went back in and looked at some of my ads. I mean, a lot of them are below 40, but 40 to 80 I think is a slightly better range. If you're paying $1.25 to $1.50, it's probably in a high value neighborhood where the users are, there's not as many Facebook users. And so your ads will show up, but you won't get as many clicks. So that's where you get the higher price per click. You may not want to chase those unless the property values warrant spending the money generating the leads. Always let Facebook do the bidding, which is what I mentioned earlier, and never let your ad continuously run. So like I said, turn it off and you'll keep control of your money. Your money spent. If you're doing 3 zip codes, $5 a day, that's $60 a weekend. You're talking about $240 a month. At least up here, my general experience is I'm going to generate. Last weekend was a little light, and it's going to be a little tougher going into this time of year, but I would expect no less than 6 leads in any given weekend. These are full leads, meaning the people put their name, email, you got the address, so you got contact information. I've had the best I ever had in any one weekend was about 25, maybe a little more than that. So you're looking at in any given month somewhere in the range of 25 to 100, depending upon how many places you're going, fully qualified leads. In my book, these are all C leads. So I'm not going to hype it up and tell you that, oh my God, these are people who are ready to sell their house tomorrow. They're C leads. But in my experience, if you're able to get in touch with these people quickly, meaning face-to-face contact, and this goes back into the lead management point that I was talking about earlier. If you get back in touch with these people pretty quickly, um, you'll find that the conversion rate is pretty high. So your ability to get these people to go from being C lead to a B lead, meaning they're going to do something in the next 6 months, or even an A lead, which is to me somebody doing something in the next 90 days, is much higher than most other advertising platforms. So let's put it this way. Last weekend, of the leads I got, one of them, unfortunately, had literally just signed with another broker. But that was, and it had nothing to do with the fact that, the response time. But the point is that this was somebody who was actively interested. They were just looking for a second opinion. So that's fine, fair enough. But it's also a good proof point that says that's somebody who's ready to sell their house. So again, conversion rate potential is much higher with these ads. So that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, I have some questions. Um, as far as the budget strategy, so you said it's more densely in some more densely populated areas, or higher price. Is that because more people are bidding, so they raise the price?
Um, no. So when you're in a market where there are fewer users and fewer people clicking through, the price you have to pay to get their attention goes up. So it just costs more.
Okay, my next question is with regard to follow-up. What do you
Okay.
do? How do you do it? How do you keep
Yep.
track? All that stuff.
Okay. Perfect question. So generally, let's put it this way. So the drip systems are automatically going to do follow-up. You're going to get an instant valuation. You'll get it in a few minutes. And then if the drip system, like in Home Value Leads, for example, they'll get automated emails over the next 72 hours. To me, that's what I would consider to be minimal follow-up. In my experience, in the first 3 to 5 days, you need to schedule some sort of pop-by. The other thing you need to do is call. So whenever a lead comes in, I look at their first thing I do is I scrub these leads. Okay, not every lead you get is going to be valid. So the first thing I do is I go into the tax records and I take a look and see, is this home something that's recently transacted? I've had this happen. I've actually had properties that were in contract where somebody related to the property, whether it's buyer or seller, has gone off to check a valuation. Maybe they thought they paid too much. Maybe the seller thought that they didn't get as much as they should. You need to go into the tax records. Realist is a great tool if you're in California, whatever. But you need to find out, is this something that is actively in contract or recently sold? To me, if it sold the last 6 months, they're not going to sell their house. They're just trying to find out how much they've made. Not a lead, get rid of it. Then you need to find out if it's actually the owner. Had that happen? So people who are curious about a home value for whatever reason put in their information on a property that they have no interest in. So again, you can find out what the motivation is if you want to. To me, not a good lead. Waste of time. But more importantly, you're going to get full name. You're going to clarify who the owner is. Then you're going to go off to something like whitepages.com or Intellus or any number of other big data resources. And you're going to type in the name of the owner, the name of the city, the two-state abbreviation code, and the word phone. Okay? So, and in quotes. So it's Joe Smith. So you're going to do quote, Joe Smith, unquote. Let's say Newport Beach, CA, the word phone. That's going to bring up a whole bunch of different websites. They're going to have the potential of giving this guy's phone number. Okay. So if you're going to try to do follow up, you don't want to be driving all over the place. So I love the idea of a pop by, but I also like the idea of a 60-second phone call to find out what is this guy interested in. And your goal is to introduce yourself. That level of personalization makes it different in conversion rates. So the phone call is used to validate that the lead is of interest. If you can't get a phone number, because there are people with unlisted phone numbers, do a pop by. You're going to drive up. If you're not comfortable with door knocking, that's fine. If you're concerned about door knocking laws that restrict your access, these people have requested information to you and initiated a relationship. You have the ability to go knock on their door. So stop by, introduce themselves. I did this last night with somebody. The guy's got a $2 million house that he's interested in putting on the market. He's going to buy in the same general vicinity at least half again that much in terms of price range. That's going to be a great relationship. His decision point is in the next 4 to 5 months. We're going to put a meeting together and talk. That was because of the door knock.
Now, did
So the
you go by,
follow-up is the
do you
conversion.
bring like a full CMA, like an RPR CMA or cloud CMA or touch CMA? Do you ever bring those by when you go by and door knock?
Never. And the reason I don't is because what I want to do is I want to have a human-to-human conversation. I want to get an understanding of it's an initial consultation in the door knock. What you're asking them is, what are your plans? It's really basic. You don't need to get into the numbers. You want to get into their motivation. You want to learn a bit about them, talk about them. If they got a nice house, great. How long have you lived here? I've lived here for 10 years. Maybe you know the neighborhood. If you do know the neighborhood, talk about something that goes on in the neighborhood. Talk about something, whatever you're going to do, however you want to have the conversation. But the purpose of the conversation is to get to know them, establish a trust relationship. Don't make it a pitch. Your goal is not to pitch, because if your goal is to pitch, they're going to smell that. Your goal is to be their trusted advisor. So skip the CMAs and the rest of it, because if their decision is not going to be made in the next week, CMA is worthless anyway. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so there's a number of other questions. First of all, we are recording the webinar and we'll get that up and we'll blast out the link in the next couple of days so if you want to watch it again or share it with anybody else. Michelle is asking if you could explain more about how the instant response component works, because in the ad you say, you're going to get your instant home valuation. So can you talk a little more about the funnel, the communication with home value leads and what happens? I'm just using home value leads as an example with these products, how they actually physically work.
okay, so Boomtown's the same way. Listing to leads is the same way. When the person goes to the landing page and puts in their address, and then they're prompted to put in their name and their contact info, and obviously to get an instant valuation, they have to put in a valid email address. Once they put that information in there, the system will run whatever backend algorithm they have. Every vendor is different, but when they get that, within a matter of minutes, they're going to get a follow-up email that says, click here for your report. Some of them will give the report real time in the browser, but every one of them follows up with an email. So that starts the drip. And again, every one of them is different in terms of timing. You can configure what the backend response is, what email messages are sent to these people. Generally, what I do with mine is send, they get the initial response that says, here's your report. And then within 24 hours, there's a second email that comes back and said, hey, thank you for signing up. Just wanted to make sure that you got your report. Could you let us know that you received it? That's it. I'm not trying to sell them anything. Again, you're just trying to establish contact and provide value to the consumer. I get a lot of people that send responses back to me that said, yep, got it. Thank you. That's it. Then it's up to the drip campaign. And every product is different. The content within those is different. But generally, your drip campaigns should be customized to talk about either the market in general. In other words, if you're in a strong market, it's a seller's market, emphasize the benefits of selling their home now, right? Because you got to have a call to action. But that's not going to be in every email. So my emails start off with, this is a good time to sell. Don't get too wordy. Just simple 2-paragraph email. Just keep it succinct. You can update that email based on what you know of the market. but keep that super simple. Just give them what they need to know. The follow-on email should be to pitch why you're better or different. So you're going to be trying to give these people some reason for why they should work with you, and scatter it over the next 60 to 90 days. Most of these systems have ongoing drip updates that give updated valuation reports every 30 days. So every 30 days, for as far out as you're going to go, you're going to continue to get these reports. Other than that, again, conversion comes down to contact. So the drip is not going to result in somebody calling you up and saying, hey, I want you to sell my house. Not going to happen. You're going to have to get in front of them.
Okay. All right. Here, I think I know what your answer is to this one, but Beatrice is asking, how long should you run the ad campaign for? So we know you should run it from Thursday. The best days are Thursday to Sunday. And do you ever break, and or do you just run it throughout the year?
Throughout the year, it's interesting is I ran it over the Halloween weekend, and one of my agents actually said that Halloween was a great time to get leads, and so we did. We ran it, and the responses were not good. So I don't know. It could be great. I just I don't know. This is a great time of year because most of the people that are thinking about selling in the spring are thinking now. So this is a great time to advertise. I don't know if advertising over holidays is a good idea. You know what? If you're only going to spend a few bucks, maybe.
And something that I'm working on, I don't know it would apply here, but I've noticed that when there's a long weekend, that Monday I get a lot of click-throughs on things because by Monday,
Hmm.
someone that's had a 3-day weekend has already done their Saturday stuff, their Sunday stuff, and now they're sitting around cruising the internet. So I've actually have like followed a campaign for the whole year, and every time Monday was a holiday, I got a lot more clicks.
Wow.
So
Well, there you
that's
go.
something to explore. If we've got, and also on Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend, um, I noticed that too. People are sitting at so I wouldn't, if you're going to try doing it, I would maybe keep it on the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend, maybe through Monday, just kind of to see if you get some extra clicks on Sunday night after 11, as Brian suggested, turning off at 11. Okay, Kay is asking, talk about a lifetime budget. Is it wise to choose a lifetime budget?
Well, that's interesting. The lifetime budget strategy, tried that. Um, I don't like it, but for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. Uh, the challenge on the lifetime budget is that to scale you're going to scale the expense across however many days are between the first date, the start date, and the stop date. So it's kind of the same difference. You're just saying, here's what we're going to do. And if you're going to do that across 30 days or let's say a year, then you got to figure out what your total spend is in advance and then just run it. I'm not a fan.
Okay. And then Michelle is asking about scripting. I guess she's asking if you ask if they're working with an agent when you're talking to them.
Yes, but it's not the initial response. For example, this one house that I stopped by, the guy's going to put his house on the market in the next 5 to 6 months. He actually brought up that we have an agent that we've worked with, but unless they've got a contract in place, um, it's fair game, right? So they don't have an active listing agreement. If they have an active listing agreement, obviously, you're out the door. That's when you stop. But if they don't, it's competitive, right? I mean, this is what we're here to do. So again, going back to the points of you're trying to offer your differentiation, know in advance what it is that you do better than somebody else. What makes you special? What can you do for this seller? Do you have more information on the market? Do you have a better marketing strategy? Do you have some services that you offer that make it easier to work with you than the other guy? Have all that stuff in your list of things to discuss, but don't be dissuaded. Unless they have an active listing agreement, it doesn't really matter.
So I have, right now we're kind of low on questions, but I have two questions. And if you guys have any more questions, write them in because we are kind of wrapping up. But my first question is, you talked about duplicating the ad. Is there an easy way to do that? And then my second question is, you wrote a fabulous article several weeks ago about A, B, C, and D leads, I believe. And
Yep.
if you could, yeah, I think that would be nice to share since you were using some of your own terminology about what A, B, and C leads are. If you could talk about both of those things, I think it would be really, really helpful.
What was the first one again?
Just if it's, how do you do a duplicate ad? Is there just, you just click and say copy this ad, or if there,
There is an ability to duplicate an ads, and it is in the campaign manager, the ad management function in there.
okay.
Um, you know, again, for as fast as it goes, I actually
Mhm.
don't use that, oddly enough.
Mhm.
But you can. So if you just
Okay,
want to do multiple creations, yes, it's easy to do.
perfect.
To the other question on A, B, and C leads, right? So goes back to an article that I wrote on the 6 lists every agent needs, right? So you've got all these different lists, and they're contact lists of how you manage your leads, or people who are in your sphere or past clients. So where all of this stuff comes in is in the A, B, and C category. So the A category are people who are going to make a very quick decision. Either they're going to sign a listing in the next 90 days, or they're going to buy something in the next 90 days. And they're committed. They're actively engaged. They're loyal to you. You know them. They trust you. There's a relationship. B leads are, you've got a relationship. These people are probably not going to do anything for the next 6 months, maybe even as far out as a year. But again, you've got a relationship, they trust you, and there's a very high rate of conversion between a B and an A. So those folks are the folks that you're trying to get to. With all of the leads that you're generating through these ads, you're trying to get them to be Bs. The Cs are pretty much everybody else. C leads are where you need to be generating hundreds of leads over the course of the year. I mean, again, it depends on your target, right? If you're trying to close one deal a year, one deal a month, one deal a year, that would be bad. If you're trying to generate a closing a month, and let's say your average selling price is $1 million. I don't know, we've got listeners in from around the market. I keep using California numbers, which are just frightening. Um, a little more realistic. Let's say we're doing a half mil, right? So that applies to more markets around the country. Um, and you're trying to close, one of those a month. So you're going to need to generate a lot of C leads to get to those closings, because your ability to convert these people from C to B and then B to A is going to take time. Most listing decisions take 8 to 9 months to convert. So somebody that you meet today who's a C lead comes in through the system, gets your emails. The process is going to take you 8 to 9 months in most cases to get them from, hi, how are you? What's your name? To, my God, you're the best agent ever. Thank you for helping us sell our house. That's the thing with all of these ad campaigns that you need to keep in mind, that even if you generate these leads now, you have to be patient with the process, because the chances of getting one of these leads where somebody's ready to sign tomorrow are pretty low. It happens. I mean, right? I just generated one over the weekend where they literally signed just like that. Um, but it's rare. So managing through that cycle is all about how you do follow up. And just like every other uh, lead management process, you got to do what works for you, but it has to include FaceTime. So, the drip campaigns will push it through, but in order to convert them from a C to a B, you're going to have to meet them. Call them into your office, pop by their house, call them on the phone, whatever. But, you just have to get them through your funnel. That's what's going to result in sales.
Cool, cool. Did you read the book Seven Levels of Communication?
Not yet.
Okay, so that's a really great book because it talks a lot about establishing rapport and getting to that top level where everyone becomes like your best billboard, constantly referring you everywhere. And it's so short, you can read it like in 2 hours. So if anyone is looking for
Mhm.
something fun to read that's related to business, it's called The Seven Levels of Communication. Let me see. I actually don't think we have any more questions. Brian, thank you so much. This was so helpful. I know you are really, really busy with Katera real estate because it's growing so quickly, and I'm just excited that you had the time to share with me and all the people. We had a very large audience, and again, it was included a lot of your fans and very good friends in Active Rain. So it's nice to know that you're very, very popular.
Okay. Love them all. I'm glad everybody was able to make it.
So can you give
Love the
everyone your
experience.
email address so that in case they need to contact you or have any questions later?
Yep. So my email is Brian, Bryan, at katara-re.com. And Katara is spelled, well, you see it down there on the lower right hand part of the screen. Catarra-re.
And that's Brian with a Y. So Brian at
Yep.
katarare.com. And I'm info at melissazavala.com if anyone needs me, but I was just the Vanna White of this presentation. So, well, thank you again, Brian. Let me see. Let me just run through real
No,
quick and
thanks to you.
see. Oh, who is the author of the book? Kathleen's on, and she wants to. The author of the book is, I think his name is Michael Maher, Maher, Kathleen. And Kathy from La Quinta is saying thank you. You're awesome. And
Hey, thanks for coming, Kathy. Nice to have you here.
so anyway, so thanks again, Brian. And we're going to shut down now. And again, you guys look in the next couple of days. I'll shoot out real quick a link to, in case you want to share the video or watch it again and go through the steps. And thank you again, Brian, for giving us your
Yeah,
time.
you're very welcome.
All right. Take
Thanks.
care. All right. Bye bye.